Good morning. Oh, it's warm. Super warm. Too hot to be sat in an office. Oh. Doesn't look like we have much of a turnout today, so I shall just I shall just scan the market. See if there's anything worth trading. I'm going to start with AI bottlenecks. Obviously, these have had a decent sell-off lately. So potentially some opportunity. I mean, wow, AXT. %66 down. Why is my YouTube title wrong? Do I change that? Should be fixed. Hi, you. This is kind of wild. When was the yearly open? Done. Almost a 10x from the yearly open. Now down like 70% off the highs. Crazy. So this is a pretty good chart right now of what I'm looking for a lot of coins. Excuse me. Because this is sort of where a lot of stocks are right now. They're within this window where the trend has been broken, right? Classic higher highs and higher lows trend, right? And that trend was broken in AXT's case. That was back in June, and that we started to make a lower low, right? And then you can see from there how the structure reversed. So what we're looking at here is a clear sign of catching like big reversals on some of these like big trending coins, and potentially opening some swing shorts on things if they get sold off heavy, or they lock in this right shoulder, right? What a lot of people like to call these bounces is a dead cat bounce. So often you'll form a low. So for example, the structure is broken, we come down, we form a low, and that bounce often forms a dead cat bounce where structure is then officially shifted, and now you can see how we bleed from there. So this is kind of another coin or stock that I was looking at that on is MU, right? So MU is in a pretty important spot for me. Micron, a stock, a memory stock, right? So right now we have that same sort of structure as I just discussed on MU compared to XTI, in the sense that we have clear structure, higher highs and higher lows, right? And now that structure is broken. So what we're looking for here essentially is for a move into, if whether that was already it, that could have been the dead cat bounce, right? But if not, either way, I do think MU looks good for a bounce into here, into 860s. 880 to 860 I think is a good place for us to try and get long on MU, and either target that dead cat bounce into a lower high, right? Or maybe, you know, this is the reset that a lot of these stocks need. So we're kind of in the middle, right? We're right now we're between the fact that the market is topped, or this is a just a reset of the trend. So, you know, we're looking for potentially, ideally that wasn't it, because I think that would have been a pretty crap lower high, right? So ideally we could see a lower high into a bit higher, and then we look at this to be either the top or and a dead cat, or ideally like a strong change of structure and continuation move following that. Music too loud, or is the music okay? So I actually done a little post on this in the Discord yesterday, and sort of like my thoughts here on, it was yesterday or maybe it was Monday. Is Bitcoin going to pump, or is it a fake move? So with regards to BTC and it being a fake pump, like you said, it sounds like someone's decided to cut the hedges outside my window as soon as I started streaming, but I don't think you should be able to hear it. So where do I start with BTC? I think the main point that I'm looking at here is 66k up to 68k. I think 66k could and should be a good place to go short. If we start to break above 66 to 68k, I'm really considering the idea that the bear market low is in, and this was the bear market low. but only upwards of 66 to 68k, this sort of area. If we can flip here, I'm really considering the fact that the bear market lows in. So what I posted about today, or discussed today, was, bear with me. So despite everything that's been happening right now, and BTC has continued to hold 60k. So we've had Sailor selling, we had the largest outflows from ETFs in since inception of the ETF, since the ETF started trading back in January. June was the largest outflow month for BTC. And despite that being a huge month of outflow, we continue to hold 60k, right? We had a ceasefire for the past couple months, and obviously this week it looks like the ceasefire is discontinued, and there's a bit of like a resurgence in the US and Iran situation. Obviously yesterday we had positive CPI print for the likely chance that there's, I think, chance of a hike this year is drops now. It's a bit of a 50-50 right now within whether there's going to be a hike this year. And with that is obviously the dollar is not really liking the numbers yesterday, which makes complete sense, right? It's like a minus 6%, 0.6% in CPI. So what we're monitoring right now is the fact that if the dollar breaks below 100.5, BTC flips 66, 68, I think we can be in for a really solid move, that this deviation and reclaim probably leads to a move back towards the highs and maybe even much higher, like I said, considering that this low here was the bear market. Because despite like everything kind of being against crypto lately, the market's held. Sailor literally sold the bottom pretty much. His average selling was around 60k. ETFs had max outflow in June. Like it's a really interesting situation. Obviously we have to monitor the macro landscape with following the CPI print. The CPI print was positive because obviously there was a ceasefire in June. But since then, we've seen an increase in oil. Oil bounced so far this month. It's up like 20% this month, because the war has essentially started again. The ceasefire was like a 60-day ceasefire that finished. Obviously there was missiles thrown, so the numbers for July and August will likely pivot to the numbers that we saw in June, so we have to be wary of that. But for now, like, we've got a bit of leeway, I think, at least into 66k, but that's where I want to get short. We have the 2024 VWAP, the Q1 value row low, the prime monthly value row high, and also the plus 2.5 standard deviation on the monthly and the quarterly band, and also on the weekly too. So I think it makes sense to go short into 66k with an invalidation above 68. And but if we do flip there and we get invalidated, there's a good chance that we can move up. Weekly close equally is going to be very important. As you know, this is something I've discussed time and time again, but the structure right now remains bearish, right? We form a support, we break down, we retest that support, and we break down, right? We form a support, we break down, we retest that support, and we break down. Form a support, retest the previous support, break down. Again here, broke down, retest support, broke down. And now, for the first time, we're starting to shift a little bit, right? We had a bit of a reclaim set up on BTC. So let's monitor the weekly close. I think a weekly close above 66k can be massive for BTC. A weekly close above 63k can be great, but more so you want to monitor a close above 66k. A weekly close above 66k can be very, very positive. And you know, we start to consider a shift in the structure, right? If we close above 66, you could be more tight and say 67k weekly close, but let's call it 66. I think that'll be good enough. 40k will be the low. I have spot limits on BTC here. These are my spot limits. I've had them set there since back in March, I think. And unfortunately, my first bid missed by $100 into the low. But overall, I'm expecting a bottom anywhere from 57 down to 52 with a higher time frame invalidation under 50. Personally, I don't think we should lose 50k on BTC. Right now, I mean, you can see how important this area is. 2021 all-time high, right? 2020 to 2021 all-time highs. 2024 range low. Like, the idea of breaking below here would, in my opinion, would completely cook the structure. I think if you think we're going to 40k, we're going well under there. We're going 30 and 20, and then for here, for me, this is unrealistic. Unless like Sailor gets completely fucked, like going down here is unrealistic. I don't see any reason why we should go 40k. And if we are going 40k, then you might as well start bidding sub 30, to be honest. That's just my take. Also taking a look at Bitcoin Power Law model. Starting to form very similar bottom structure on BTC into the Bitcoin Power Law floor. You can see time and time again, we get that bear market breakdown, deviation, reclaim, leg up, breakdown, deviation, reclaim, leg up, breakdown, deviation, reclaim, leg up. So essentially here, you can look for a similar thing. If we start to reclaim 68k, right? That's what I said about my short invalidation. A reclaim above 68k, you probably just look at targeting a move like this. Validation under the low, target new all-time high on a 68k reclaim. That is as simple as it can get. In which case, I would obviously remove my spot bids. I would have to chase a position. I would remove these bids. $610 weekly EMA. I've never heard of that. Yeah, I mean, like, BTC looks good. I wanted to long 64 last night and this morning. Unfortunately, we didn't get that level. I mean, it might still get it, but I think realistically, this looks like it wants 66 from here. You want me to show you something? You can show me. I won't click any links, but are you in the Discord? Because you can tag me. Anyway, let's start scanning some trades for this session. Got distracted. MU might actually give us a little sweep during stream into a 8860. You can see down here I've got my alerts set and ready. SpaceX 2, almost trading into IPO price where I want to long it. For a bounce at least, I think long term still going much lower. Nvidia, actually. So this is a very similar thing to what I was discussing with AXT, right? See, the PA is very similar where Nvidia's sort of topped and there's like a downtrend. You could essentially say these have been dead cat bounces. But this structure needs to shift, in my opinion, on Nvidia. Nvidia needs to reclaim 215 to 260. If it does so, then there's a good chance it can leg up again. But until then, this looks like it's probably forming yet again another high before lower and bleeding out. I think you could probably chase a breakout on Nvidia now above here, above 210, above that that 2025 high. I can't invite you to the Discord. You have to join it, unfortunately. But that is the Discord if you're interested. Or you can tag me on Twitter. If you've got Twitter, you can tag me in a post there and I'll read it. Pretty nice hype sell signal actually. Okay. Just a bit hesitant to short BTC right now until it gets to 60 or anything crypto related until it goes to 60s. All right, MTSI. I'm gonna scan through these AI bottlenecks and see if there's anything that catches my eye. Looking at some stuff. Hi, no one. What's going? Am I looking at some setups to trade? I'm just scanning now. Yeah. I'm looking at BTC. Like kind of two main BTC trades I'm looking at right now is a short into 66 with invalidation above 68. If I get a good sell trigger up here, I'll get a move back down into 60s. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, if we don't reject there, you can look at taking along on BTC and targeting high 70s to 80s. But I'm just scanning through the AI bottleneck stocks right now. Obviously, if anyone has any chart requests, please feel free to share them. I can take a look. Historically, does BTC retest that 610 EMA in bear markets? Nokia is getting shafted too. 36%. Why have I got some buy signals here? Are they not? Oh, they did pop up. I should probably check these. BRT. Some strong buy signals coming in on the weekly. The only downside is that I don't necessarily have a substantial level here to trade off. Kind of no man's land. I guess you got the prior monthly value very low. What would the target be? Nokia alerts just went off again. Let's take a look at Nokia. It's not really... isn't really appealing to me. Like trying to long VRT here, just simply because the daily looks like it's still got legs for lower. It's not overextended enough. And same with the 4 hour. Like the 4 hour isn't even into overextension levels. So I would probably, for that reason, I'm going to give this one a miss. But Nokia, for example, this here. Come on, DXY gives the breakdown, like mega, obviously. Isn't the short from 67k more better and tempting with a better risk reward? Yeah, in general, I think 66 to 68k looks like a good place to get short. But my short will be very dependent on my VWAP bands. So my short could, end up being 67k or 68k, but relatively, I like any short into sort of this 2024 VWAP. Yeah. And I will only really take the short if I get a strong sell signal coming in. The daily as well. The daily's also getting into the +2 on the Z score, which is great. Pretty key thing I want to see on the daily Z score to take a short for a rotation. Oh, so Lord says something. On the weekly, the previous EMAs have been holding a support. $89 held. The first bear market, 114 held. The next one, 230 held. The next one, 310. No. Interesting. What is your outlook on BTC? Do you think BTC will drop, giving this a fake out and liquidity sweep instead of a breakout, or do you think this is a valid breakout and we are heading towards 60k? I think this move should continue to 66 to 67k, yes, maybe even as high as 68k. And that's when we really need to monitor whether we think this is going to be a high before lower again, or whether this was a local bottom for a while now. A reclaim, I sort of discussed this at the start of the stream, so apologies for repeating it, but a reclaim of this 2024 VWAP will be massive for BTC. A reclaim of 66 to 68k would be huge for BTC, and you could really start to consider the fact that this could be the bear market low. But for now, we have to really like take this area with caution. Focus on looking for a rejection into here for the time being until proven otherwise, right? Me, I think we're quite close now. I also have like my blog. You can read my blog. I have some posts on my blog where I sorry, I got distracted. I also have my blog where you can read weekly, well, I would say more monthly write-ups from me where I discuss different types of market data. And the most recent blog post was taking a look at like on-chain, like the holders on-chain, and whether we're seeing like capitulation in the market, and sort of like the general supply that's being held in a loss. So you can read all that there. I actually posted a market report on Friday. So Discord. So here is my market report from last Friday. So I do these market reports in the Discord, 13 pages, and I sort of discuss the introduction, my like multiple time frame analysis, give some like outlook on where we are in the cycle, on some on-chain analysis, any like sort of notes discussing macro or other outside factors, and then a summary, and then I give sort of levels and things. These reports are pretty common. I try and do these at least once a month. And I give my thoughts in the Discord. But I post these sometimes to my blog as well, like deep analysis and stuff. Yes, no one. Exactly. I'll show you my blog. That's my blog. And then the Discord is here. You can read my blog. All right, let's get back to the charts. I hope I can find something. Honestly, this month has been super fucking boring for me. I had a really good June, and then this month has just been dry. Like, maybe Nokia into $10 could be nice. I've been struggling to find much this month. I think because basically I rely on spikes up to short into, which we haven't been getting these aggressive spikes upwards to short into. Like, at least we have been getting moves up, but not as overextended as I'd like them to be. And the downtrends have been so aggressive that the buy signals I'm getting are really inconsistent. Like, for example, here, I really like, I'm picky with my buy signals I take. So for the most part, it's been a pretty slow month because shorts haven't been common, and the long setups have been pretty inconsistent. I quite like Nokia into 10.6 to 10.3. Who we got for the football tonight anyway? I already know who I'm supporting. Yeah, I quite like this. 10.6. 10.6 down to 10.3 for Nokia for a long. I'm not really a fan of these buy signals. Like I said, they're pretty inconsistent right now. What else did I had to buy on this? Interest. Yeah, and uranium. I'm not really interested in uranium on nuclear stocks right now. Not until I see a sweep into a 39 on uranium global ETF. $39, yeah, 39.5. I like. Awesome. I need to add this to my watch list. Yeah. I think they were close to some relief on a lot of these AI bottleneck stocks. They've been getting shafted for a few weeks now, yeah. Like Astera Labs, definitely like trading into this prior quarterly value or high, developing yearly value or high. Maybe a little bit lower, like sweep under 330s. A Lab. 30% pullback off the highs. How many of those? CF pulling back. Yeah, the trend is quite aggressive on this. 5 minute. I'd have to wait for a shift back above the 2.5 weekly. Arista. Have I got a delay on? No. Sorry, I just saw that question. I am only using one monitor. So I have to click off this monitor to my Streamlabs to view the chat. This past year I've downgraded from 3 monitors all the way to 1 monitor. I had to declutter my desk, and I've actually really enjoyed only having 1 monitor, to be honest. It's also helped. Often I would just be watching something on my other monitor as well, like throughout the day. I feel like it was pretty bad, my concentration levels. So we're getting some quite nice pullbacks here. I think we can be pretty close to some relief on a lot of these AI bottleneck coins. I think they're well overdue. A lot of 30% pullbacks, like very similar to what we done back in May. Look at the last time I had some strong buy signals on CRDO. Could potentially try and long this actually. Developing yearly value are high. In terms of the quarterly VO, we don't really have much here, but we have some supporting values on other time frames. 4 hours peak down into sub 2 on the Z score, so that's a good start, and the daily is basically there. So how's volume? I think this is a pretty important place. It starts to lose here, like 220s. It's looking at another 30% drop, like 25% drop, almost 45% off the highs. Very tempted to long this. Stop B. 3% stop. TP1 around 231, I guess it would be. Maybe we wait for the 4-hour close. Maybe we wait for the 4-hour close on this. We should print a buy signal, and then we can probably look at entering. before I close. A-Lab as well. Yeah, it's probably pretty close to a bottom. SpaceX is teasing that sweep into IPO price. Yeah, A-Lab a little bit lower, like under 330. Nokia under 10. Let's keep these open in case we sweep a little bit today's session. CRDO is the closest chart right now that we could be looking at long in for sure. That was like, yeah, so like that was networking, AI bottlenecks sector we just looked at. The CRDO and out of these, right? So sort of out of photonics, we thought Nokia looked pretty good. Out of networking, A-Lab and CRDO, I think are looking pretty good. Some things won't give us anything like this right now. Like it's not forming anything. I'm sort of looking for the near term. Like maybe if there's something that could be good in the future, but right now it's not interesting. I won't bother highlighting. Back to it. Equally, you can just like I just set some alerts, for example, like Bloom. I think this looks pretty good into a sweep on the 200. Crazy. 2,500% since all lows. And since the yearly open. Do some digging on CRDO quickly. Find anything. Hi Guap, how's it going? Probably set up a Substack really. Looks like there's some people shilling CRDO. Targeting 125. Using Elliott waves, so can that be trusted? Maybe keep an eye on it. Coin, people in the chat call talking about coin. Doing relatively well. Makes sense, obviously, because CBTC is doing pretty well. No new buy signals in this 30-minute close. We've already looked at these three. I mean, coin's still on that support. Where's my chart? This might be hard to find. Apparently not. Look at this support for coin. More interestingly enough, it is started coming into play following the ETF, which makes sense because we've become more of like a standardized asset, right? It's become more correlated to stocks and other macro. See. Move to support again, start to bounce. Pretty common, right? Recently, that sort of buying into this area on coin has been a profitable way of basically buying, right? So, like for example, coin bounced 130% off that low. So again here, right? He bounced 67%, coin bounced 200%, so 6%. So yeah, historically buying into this 146 area for coin has basically marked a local bottom for BTC2. You can even also pair that with the dollar. Very, very similar occasions. So it's interesting how things work right together. AEHR must have had earnings or something. Bounced 57% from yesterday's close. Oh, AMD's coming back down. That's good. Still have my alerts on AMD into 490 to 480. Very, very important place for AMD to hold. Equally a great place to go long. I'm playing quite passive this month, waiting for levels. So ideally, that passiveness is rewarded, right? Like I've been waiting all month for MU to come to 860. Same for AMD. Been waiting all month for AMD to sweep into 490. So looks like people tapped out. Does anyone have any chart requests before start to wrap things up? Continue to scan for a bit. Right now I don't see much. I've not really got buy signals again, or even sell signals for that matter. It's you kind of falling short of this A region, so it's too early to short though. I want to sweep into 66k before I short. All right, no chart requests, then I'll wrap it up. If you're in the Discord, I will post some trades that we discussed. Got my eye on. Won't be live next Wednesday as I'm away. We'll in a couple weeks. If not, on the Discord tomorrow as usual with Flex and JD. All right, see everyone.